Hi, and welcome to Kane's Top 5 Under 5, the 5 most important stories in cybersecurity for May 2024. Our first story is that the person in charge of enforcement at the SEC, Gerber S. Gruwal, recently talked about the importance of honest AI related disclosures at the Corporate Compliance and Enforcement Spring Conference. He emphasized that truthful reporting is essential to avoid misleading investors, and we can anticipate that the SEC will focus on how companies report their use of artificial intelligence. Executives are under the lens, with the SEC examining their role in ensuring accurate disclosures. The agency recommends that companies not only educate themselves about AI, but engage in robust compliance practices because those who implement effective policies and act in good faith to ensure the accuracy of their AI related information are less likely to have a bad time with an investigation. In the past year, the SEC has taken action against 2 investment firms that inaccurately promoted their AI capabilities, and they're just getting started. Speaking of the SEC, our second story is about the U.S. Supreme Court and the SEC. In a recent ruling, the Supreme Court clarified the obligations of public companies to disclose information to investors. This decision came from a lawsuit involving Macquarie Infrastructure Corporation and a conflict over the IMO 2020 regulation. The focus at the Supreme Court was on interpreting SEC Rule 10b 5b, which is about whether companies can omit material facts without making other statements misleading. The court's unanimous decision was that Rule 10b 5b does not cover cases where there is merely an omission without any misleading statements. This ruling means that investors cannot base securities fraud claims solely on omissions unless these omissions make other statements misleading or half truth. The court also emphasized that a company must only disclose information when necessary to prevent other statements from being misleading. I expect this will be a factor in future annual SEC 10K Section 1C disclosures and may have an effect of limiting disclosures to what's just required under Regulation SK Item 106, rather than the more robust disclosures we saw earlier this year. And if a company discloses a material impact as part of an 8K breach disclosure, then it needs to thoroughly review every probable stakeholder impact to not unintentionally disclose half-truths. Looking at local developments, our third story is that starting this month, Utah's SB 149 law is attempting to regulate artificial intelligence in the private sector. This law introduces guidelines regarding data management, disclosure responsibilities, and corporate duties linked to AI use. The law clarifies that synthetic data is not considered personal under the Utah Consumer Privacy Act, allowing companies to use such data without violating privacy laws. Other key requirements include maintaining an AI inventory that records usage and has clear disclosures of AI involvement in consumer interactions, particularly in regulated sectors. The law also acknowledges that companies are responsible for any legal issues resulting from their AI usage, including potential criminal liabilities. Utah has also established the Office of Artificial Intelligence Policy and the AI Learning Laboratory program to oversee and support AI development, which require participating companies to share their AI research outcomes with the state in exchange for a lower potential regulatory burden. Staying with our laws, our fourth story is that Florida's Senate and House have passed a bill that's similar to other cyber safe harbor laws that I'm tracking. The bill provides broader immunity from various claims without any exclusions for failing to address known threats and doesn't condition immunity on actual compliance with a cybersecurity program. However, companies must demonstrate substantial compliance to qualify immunity, but the law doesn't specify which claims this immunity affects. This is particularly important on whether a company has sufficiently met the notification requirements set by the Florida Information Protection Act. Plaintiffs may require discovery to assess the adequacy of the company's compliance efforts, potentially complicating the use of this defense early in a lawsuit. The law also hypothetically won't protect against breach of contract claims or claims under federal law or other states' laws. Finally, going back to AI, our fifth story is that the CNIL, France's regulatory authority for data privacy, has issued a set of non-binding guidelines for developers of AI systems and reminded developers about GDPR's extraterritorial scope. Developers are encouraged to document the appropriate legal basis for data processing. While consent is often preferred, legitimate interest may also serve as a basis, particularly when using data from online or third-party databases. And developers must verify that any reuse of data aligns with the original processing purposes, conducting compatibility tests as necessary. If using data from public databases or third parties, legality checks are also essential. The CNIL also suggests developers look at data disposition schedules so that data that is no longer needed is deleted unless retained for specific, justified purposes. Thanks for watching today, and if you'll be at RSA in May, stop by the Hyperproof booth and say hello.